Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, in the previous video, I gave you a heads up about this one. Goes to show, we don't just throw these things together, you know. There's a little bit of production value goes on. We do a story, we do research, we get everything in line. Anyway, we've got to look here at the DRS again. Now, from day one, I said from day one it wasn't going to work. And by no means am I an expert. I'm not. I don't work in the the bottling industry. I don't work in the recycling industry or anything like that. I'm not an expert in the field. But I could see, and I'm sure most people could see from day one, it was a non-starter. It was never going to work. It was stupid. But when you get the experts saying that it was never going to work from day one, you have to wonder why the Greens and the SNP didn't actually ask the experts. Well, we know, because the experts would tell you it wasn't going to work. That's not what they want to hear. But Geoffrey pushed ahead with it anyway because she knew best, and millions were wasted. But these particular experts knew before the millions had been wasted that it would be a complete waste of time, effort and money. And these experts are, of course, Coca-Cola. Now, they are a giant behemoth, but when it comes to slinging pop, they're the best. They bottle, they move, they transport, they recycle. They do the lot already. They are truly the experts. But Geoffrey didn't listen. Let's look to see what Coke say. So, Coca-Cola boss claims they knew deposit return scheme would fail before the UK government stepped in, amid millions of pounds lost. Tens of millions, in fact. Jim Fox confirmed at a fringe meeting at the SNP conference that the drinks giant had no confidence that the recycling project, spearheaded by Geoffrey, Lorna Slater, would have gone right. Of course not. You've put a buffoon in charge. You've got a multi-million pound, £100 million scheme it would have been in the end. Hundreds of millions of pounds. And at the head of this, at the head of the organisation that's controlling all this, is a moron. Someone who knows nothing. And not only knows nothing, refuses to speak to the experts who know everything. Because the experts will say X, Y and Z, which is not what Geoffrey wanted to hear. She wanted to hear, yes, Geoffrey, you're right. You're brilliant. You're a genius. Instead of, what the hell are you doing, you stupid woman? Which is what they would have said had she went ahead and had these meetings, because she doesn't know what she's doing. And that's the trouble. Lorna Slater is a fully blown moron. And she's also arrogant to the point where she refuses to listen to the experts. Anyway, the boss of a drinks giant has claimed that they knew Scotland's deposit return scheme would fail before the UK government stepped in to make demands. Jim Fox, head of public affairs at Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners GB, long title, made the comments during the SNP conference fringe. Scottish Greens Minister Lorna Slater faced a vote of no confidence at Holyrood after presiding over the failed recycling initiative, which was scrapped by ministers until 2025. May not even be 2025. The rate it's going, it could be a lot later than that. Westminster offered a UK internal market exemption with the condition that glass be removed. And we've covered that 100 times as to why glass should indeed be removed. All the experts say that as well. This caused a huge outcry among the nationalists for no other reason than it was a point at which they could go, oh, we need to be different from England. We need to be independent because glass in recycling or some shit. It wasn't a real argument, but, you know, they're willing to wank away tens of millions of pounds just to make a point. Anyway, this huge outcry amongst the nationalists, with both Humza Yousaf and his Greens chums blaming the Tories and Alistair Jack for them delaying the project, even though they hadn't actually put the paperwork in until about 3 months before this time. But now Mr. Fox has sown doubt about the reasons given behind the failure. He was asked about whether he thought the scheme would still be viable with glass excluded, much like Circularity Scotland suggested. That body plunged into administration due to the 2-year delay, meaning dozens of jobs were lost and millions of pounds of public money was also lost. Anyway, asking about this, Mr. Fox said, if we're just talking about the glass, I think that if everything else within that scheme had been right, and the question had been about whether glass could have gone in, we couldn't say so at the time, but we thought the scheme had already been lost by that time. If the scheme had been viable and everything had been in place and the question had only been about glass, He said, I think they could have gone ahead and made it work. In other words, even Coke, even one of the world's largest companies, a company that is, when it comes to it, absolute expert at moving glass and particularly plastic bottles back and forth, shuffling it, dealing with it, recycling. And they said it could have gone ahead. But Lorna Slater didn't want to hear that because that goes against the independence agenda. Nothing, of course, to do with recycling. Everything to sow yet more division. He says, I think in the end, delaying it was the only thing to do. A lot of people lost a lot of money, but if it would have carried on, they would have lost a lot more. He said, we would have ended up having to unpick quite a difficult situation. The problems in the regulation was one thing, but as we got nearer and nearer the implementation date, more and more people came into the debate and were looking for concessions, and those concessions were eroding what was already a difficult situation. You also have to remember the court case, which was won by a small, the Independent Association, which is the small shop owners, and they were saying they were just given a blanket figure per retail unit, per shop, if you like. Which they said was unfair, didn't target correctly, it would affect more than others, and others would be worse off, and so forth. And he took it to court, and he won his court case, which meant that every single shop had to be individually assessed. And that's still the law now. That's a court case. They haven't reversed that decision. So when they do bring it in allegedly 2025, it means that across, and here's the thing, not just Scotland, because it's the Internal Market Act, although the law went through in a Scottish court, to apply equally, it has to go through every single shop in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, and every single individual shop has to be individually assessed for its pricing on the rebate for the bottles. Good luck. There must be 1 million shops. I don't know how many inspectors they've got, but it ain't 1 million, is it? Even if it's 1,000 and they do 3-4 shops a day, which is possible, by the time you do the travel, it's going to take them 10 years. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, Mr. Fox also confirmed that Coca-Cola lost tens of millions of pounds due to the scheme, but that they would not be seeking reimbursement due to legal advice, which told them that it was too messy. He said everyone involved so far lost money, with big retailers putting in infrastructure in car parks and stores which are worth tens of millions of pounds. Now, Coke may not be going back with it, but you can guarantee the likes of Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Asda and that, they will. It's a lot of money. Someone's got to pay, but it won't be coming out of Geoffrey's pocket, will it? Coming out of yours, the taxpayers. And that's what happens when you put morons in charge. Can we stop, people, please? Can we stop voting for fuckwits and morons? They are literally too stupid. We mustn't allow stupid people to make decisions. In the animal world, they don't allow that. Stupid animals, well, nature takes care of the stupid, doesn't it? And that's why I think we should take, warning labels off things. Helps thin out the herd, as it were. Anyway, I shall finish there. I shall round off and I shall come up. But, Jesus H. Christ. Why do we allow these people? Why did we allow Lorna Slater to have control of a multi-million-pound project when we know she is so indelibly stupid? She really is one of the most stupid women I think I've ever seen. Never mind, coming up. Can you imagine how much better the world will be that instead of having morons making decisions for us, we actually got intelligent politicians who not only knew stuff, but knew what they didn't know and were quite prepared to go and listen to experts in the field and then come back and make a decision based on experience, knowledge and expertise. Imagine if Scotland was run like that. Just imagine. It'd be a far better place. But alas not. What we have is extremists, delusional morons, and the criminally evil in a cabal of, I don't know what you call it, a coterie of incompetent evil, basically, isn't it? That's what you've got. And they're either making stupid decisions or they're making deliberately bad decisions. But either way, everyone is suffering. And they're only there because you've got people who are even more stupid than that voting them in. Maybe there should be, and I genuinely mean this, maybe there should be a minimum IQ level in order to have a vote. If you're too stupid to understand things, why should you be given a say in them? You know, I'm not saying that anyone should have the vote taken off them because of their views, but certainly let's not allow morons to vote because they're too stupid to understand the implications of what they're doing. Let's have a cut-off. 95, IQ of under 95, you don't get a vote? Too stupid? I don't know. Where do you draw the line? I suppose 90, because, yeah, okay, 90. You're 10% below the average intelligence. But, you know, anything under 90, nah. Certainly not the 65s and 70s that it takes to become an SNP politician. But, you know, 90 is a good cut-off point. Have that. Then if you don't have stupid people voting, they won't vote stupid people in theory. Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that's been enlightening. It goes to show that the world's biggest sort of bottling company, if you will, say, yeah, it would have worked without glass, and you should have listened to us. The only problem is, by the time we'd have got the decision, it would already screwed up beyond all repair. I was the polite version there, by the way. But anyway, thank you very much. I shall see you next time. Stay safe, stay well, and remember, Geoffrey is a moron. Bye.